Hi, my name's Tom. I'm one of the PGCE tutors at Arthur Terry, and this video is for anybody who's watching Arthur Terry SCITS Associate Teachers this year. The first message we want to say is thank you. Your input, your advice and your encouragement will make such a difference to our associate teachers. But what we want you to do as well is to reach out to tell you as to what we do here at Arthur Terry so you can have the biggest impact on the associate teachers that you're working with. Purposeful integration is a big drive for us at the moment. As it says on screen there, how does the school-based training align with the centre-based training? What do we do? Isn't it alignment with what you do? Now, it's a big system and there's lots going on, lots of cogs in the wheel, if you like, but you are the biggest cog in the wheel. The associate teachers spend more time in the secondary schools or the primary schools on placement than anywhere else. So it's important that we support you, but you also need to know more about what we're doing because they'll go to other schools and it's a system we hope to have consistency through our schools and through our coaches. So the big message really is for us, what is the Arthur Terry SCITS approach to developing the associate teachers? Instructional coaching is our key approach to developing our associate teachers, and some of the key messages on that are on screen here. Get Better Faster books you may be interested in reading, but it talks about the essential components of professional development there, and the one says go granular, and that's something that's really important to us and to you when you're working with our associate teachers. When we go granular, that's because we're going to ask the associate teachers, well, we ask them to have 2 targets per week. Now, those are the ones they are really focusing on. Those are the biggest levers that are going to make the biggest impact on their efficacy. They should be telling you what these are. We're asking them to email to all the teachers who are watching them to tell them what the targets are. Now, one of those targets is centrally set. It might be in a different area of pedagogy, although the associate teacher with their learning coach will choose their own specific granular on that area. And the other target chosen is with their learning coach. Usually it's subject-based, certainly for those in secondary, and it'll be meeting their current development needs. Now, this is really important. These have been identified as the main levers that are going to drive their practice forward. So knowledge of these when you're watching them, so you can feedback on those 2 levers, is really important to their progress. I've asked some of my colleagues here at Arthur Terry to give some advice, maybe to some of you who are watching our associate teachers, and Craig, the PGCE tutor for English, has got this message. This is really important to us. We want you to be coaches and not the person who observes at the back of the room. I don't know about you, but during my training, the teachers would sit at the back and make lots and lots and lots and lots of notes. And when they gave me all those notes, it was all too much. And quite frankly, often it was too late. Coach in the moment. If there's something that happens in the lesson that you think, you know what, the associate teacher needs to know this and to correct it now, then do that. Be willing to maybe team teach with them. Get up and be a part of the lesson. Model to them what you want them to be doing. This does come with a warning, of course. Too much coaching and too many kind of remarks in the lesson can be a tad overbearing. So get to know the associate teacher, work with them. But yes, don't let it get to the end of the lesson and think, oh, I wish they'd had that feedback earlier, because it could have had an immediate impact. Get used to the idea of being on your feet and maybe talking to them a little bit during the lesson as well. Tracy is the leader for the MFL course here at Arthur Terry, and she's got this message. Of course, this builds into what we're talking about, the go granular. So there's the 2 targets we want you to maybe base the majority of your feedback on. But if there's maybe something in the lesson that you've watched, you think that's the biggest piece of information that the associate teacher needs to know, that's going to make the biggest change to their practice, then talk to them about that. You may have had it, as I mentioned earlier on, that you get loads of feedback. It's overbearing. It's overwhelming. Even if it was all positive, it can still be overbearing. We want them to be continually improving. And we have told our associate teachers they can be expecting this coaching. They can be expecting this feedback to say, okay, what's the one thing you need to make that big impact to improve your teaching? Now, Tracy's referenced the feedback form, so let's have a look at that. If you are asked to fill out one of these observation forms, well, please make the appropriate notes in each section. The 5 areas there will help them gather their evidence for the course, but also to make sure they're a well-rounded teacher. But feel free to write questions as prompts to make the AT reflect on the lesson. I'm personally, and I'm sure we all are here, a huge believer on encouraging our teachers to be reflective practitioners. So put the questions on this form perhaps to make them think. And sometimes if they're not giving you this form, ask the associate teacher for this form. Even if it's not an official observation, it'll help you guide some of your notes as opposed to maybe that kind of idea where you just get a notepad and write all your random thoughts. This will hopefully direct and be some really useful feedback. And again, when feeding back, still keep it to that narrow focus. What are the biggest levers that will make the biggest impact on the associate teacher's efficacy? As I referenced before, too much negative feedback, it's overwhelming, it's overbearing. Too much positive feedback, we love encouragement, absolutely. But let's focus on those key levers that are going to make a big difference. So your role as an observer of the associate teachers. Know your associate teachers' 2 targets each time you observe them and keep the majority of your feedback focused on these. Coach in the moment if needed, but as we mentioned earlier on, be a bit with a warning. Be diplomatic and do it discreetly. Work as that double act. Be brave and model the good practice to our associate teachers. Now, learning coaches will be getting the opportunity to rehearse with their learning coaches, but with the associate teachers, but feel free to model that as well if you like. Model them what it should look like. And we, of course, encourage you to go to the Arthur Terry Teaching School YouTube page for videos all about instructional coaching training. The final message, I want to repeat it, I said at the start, but I definitely want to say it at the end as well. Thank you so much for the impact you are making on our associate teachers. Your wisdom, your thoughts, and your encouragement will make a huge difference to them as they go on to make a huge difference to pupils in the future. If you've got any questions, do get in touch with the learning coach or the associate teacher, or get in touch with us at Arthur Terry. But thanks very much for watching.